Covering news where you live. This is 5 News.
Well, thank you for joining us here today for the latest news and weather where you live. I'm Joe Ellison. Before we get to your top news, let's get a check of that weather with meteorologist Zach Scott. And Zach, we're in the middle of this winter weather. One day behind us, still more to go.
Yeah, we got today, and then it's shaping up where we could be talking about this again on Wednesday. Wednesday's trending colder. Late Wednesday into Wednesday night could be another icy scenario for us going into Thursday morning. So, again, we've seen the kids out of school Monday, out of school Tuesday. We've got another round today with more icy conditions. Could they get a third day? We'll look at it here. Again, we are anticipating that we are going to see some freezing rain and some sleet. Those will be the primary two wintry precipitations that we're going to see today. Could get some light snow to mix in for northern, northwestern zones. Could see a little snow mix in with mainly sleet to the north, sleet rain mix in the central portions of our region. And then as we go to the south of 5 country, that's where you get a little bit better chance of more of a concern growing for freezing rain off towards the south. Highs today, we're starting out in the teens and 20s. I think we're going to stay in the 20s. I think we're going to try to get up near 30 degrees in the River Valley. But overall, we're expecting another day below freezing. I mean, that ice is just sticking around, and we're going to get another coating of some ice. Again, I think we're looking at sleet picking up late morning, northwest Arkansas into the early afternoon hours. That's the peak time, and then we'll start to taper it off as we go mid-late afternoon. And then we'll overall get a break overnight, maybe a few flurries, a little light freezing drizzle or a few sleet pellets. But overall, it looks like we get a break before the next round comes in tomorrow. And then as we're looking in the River Valley, again, we're seeing that pick up a little bit more earlier for you on Tuesday. Ouachita's into the River Valley mid-morning, late morning, into the afternoon, expanding across the River Valley and the Ouachita's, tapering off a little bit slower into the afternoon. Some light lingering, light freezing drizzle and a few sleet pellets mixing in into the evening. Overnight hours, I think we're overall getting a break, but we could see a little bit better chance of that light precipitation lingering south of I-40 before the next wave moves in on Wednesday. Again, future track radar showing it play out again, just like we showed you those precipitation chances increasing mid-morning, especially across our southwestern zones. And then we'll see scattered sleet downpours, a little bit more brief, not as extensive as what we saw yesterday for northwest Arkansas. Northwest Arkansas saw the majority of the sleet yesterday. I think we're going to see more sleet and freezing rain concentrated for the River Valley today. Again, that moves through mid-late morning, early afternoon. Scattered sleet downpours to the north, little snow mixing in, sleet and freezing rain off towards the south. Lingers a little bit longer in the afternoon. And then again, future track radar showing that light snow there. I think what it's picking up on is mainly some freezing drizzle chances and a few sleet pellets or two overnight. But again, we're in between systems. Here comes the next system. We'll drop it to the teens and 20s again overnight. Tomorrow's trending colder. Instead of getting in the mid and upper 30s, it's looking like we could be more upper 20s, low 30s, northwest Arkansas, near freezing, 31, 32 degrees. 32 degrees, that freezing mark. So again, we'll have the potential for freezing rain increasing with sleet tomorrow late afternoon through the evening hours, something that we're going to keep our eyes on. Again, that could give us another wintry mix. Wednesday night, temperatures likely near and just below freezing across the entire area. Into Thursday morning, could be another morning with hazardous travel. A lot going on, multiple waves to go. We'll continue to keep our eyes on it. Joe?
All right, thanks so much, Zach. Well, Arkansas's governor signed an executive order aimed at helping communities impacted by this week's icy weather. Sarah Huckabee Sanders declared a state of emergency, which will provide $250,000 from the Disaster Response and Recovery Fund to help with emergency managers cover the cost. And the Arkansas National Guard support teams are here to help state police in whatever capacity needed. Now, that does include removing broken tree limbs out of the roads and helping stranded drivers, making sure they have food, water, and even enough gas in their cars while they have to wait for a wrecker. Now, last week, the National Guard had around 4 Guards members right here in our area. This time, though, around, it's roughly tripled, with 22 members patrolling the area with 8 Humvees.
The goal of the Arkansas National Guard is to be always ready, always there. So we just deployed a larger package this time because the Arkansas State Police requested more assistance because the inclement weather is over a much larger swath and a little bit more dangerous than just the snow we had last week.
And And for those of you planning to travel through the skies, be sure to double check with your airline to see if your flight has been canceled or delayed this week. Now, as of today, we checked for flights for XNA. There were a few that were either canceled or delayed, like in Dallas, Houston, and Charlotte. Most were delayed until later this morning at Fort Smith, the regional airport there. They had a couple of flights canceled as well. Now, XNA crews say the runway has been cleared for operations, though, through this morning. But any day after this, you'll want to check those conditions. Now, these icy conditions actually caused a crash yesterday in Benton County that left one man dead. State police say 60-year-old James Sawyer was on Gully Ridge Road west of Avoca when the 18-wheeler he was driving slid off the icy road and overturned. Unfortunately, Sawyer was pinned in the cab of that truck. And just a quick reminder about trash collection services. Now, this weather will likely interfere with your collection dates, and you may not see your sanitation workers stopping by today. Fayetteville services are suspended because of the icy road conditions. The environmental director put out a note saying it will resume when the roads are a bit safer for travel again. They say as the days go by and you acquire more trash, they won't be charging an extra bag fee, though. And power crews by the hundreds are on standby to help with any outages that may arise here in our area. They were called and put in place this weekend. Now they're just waiting to be activated because fortunately we don't have any major outages at this time. That's good news. 5 News' reporter Jose Carranza has more on this.
The storm is really not complete until the last customer's power is restored for us.
Christy Woodworth with OG&E says supplies were already on hand from last week's storm, and now they have crews on standby, ready for outages.
Knowing that travel was going to be hard today, we wanted everyone in place before it got difficult to travel.
Whenever we have a power outage, we can see that through our operations center. We are constantly monitoring those. So if we do have a member that is without power, we are able to make sure that we send a crew out there as quickly as possible.
At Ozarks Electric, they're monitoring more than 90,000 meter boxes in Arkansas and Oklahoma, while the cause of last week's outages was heavy snow. Now, the utility companies are looking at ice accumulation.
But what we really watch is that 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of ice accumulation. That's where things really shift and get a little bit different.
Tree limbs coming down on power lines isn't as much of a concern this week, but they're keeping an eye out for other causes like car wrecks. They say to immediately notify your utility company of any outages or even a down power line.
Those are very, very dangerous, and you should always treat any line that you see as an energized line.
All 3 companies tell 5 News they'll be working to restore any outages as quickly as they can.
They're leaving families and at home as well, and they might be without power. So they're definitely very interested in making sure that everyone gets their power on as quickly as possible.
Covering news where you live, Jose Carranza, 5 News.
And once ice accumulations reach about 1/4 inch, the weight of the ice on the tree limbs and power lines can cause them to snap and break. Cypress and pine trees are especially susceptible to ice issues because they still have their leaves during this time of year. Now, there really isn't much you can do during this storm to avoid the ice on trees, but as a good practice, you may want to park your car a few feet away from these types of trees. And with more winter weather across 5 country in the next couple of days, tree trimmers have been pretty busy before this, cutting tree limbs around power lines that may get weighed down as we're going through this winter weather. Tree specialist Joseph Gibson with the Tree Doctor says with the amount of ice coming in, folks should be prepared.
With ice and snow, there is a possibility of losing power for multiple days. So first thing I would do is definitely stock up on enough food and water to get you through the rough weather.
Now, Gibson says if you see trees and limbs around the power lines that you may be concerned about, make sure you stay safe and call a professional. You can call your local power company or a professional tree service company. And the Arkansas men's basketball team will be taking on Texas A&M tonight. They'll be looking to make the most out of their home court advantage. We're checking in with Jonathan Acosta for more on sports.
The Hogs are 0-5 on the road this season, but at home it's a completely different story. The Razorbacks are a rock-solid 10-1 at the Basketball Palace this season. That includes a 2-win stretch last week against Ole Miss and LSU. In fact, the Hogs have only dropped 3 games at Bud Walton over the past 3 seasons. So just like Buzz Williams said, it's one of the top home court advantages in the country, one that the Hogs will look to lean on to get back on track tonight.
I think, we're gonna want, to get a dub. We're gonna go back home to our crowd, and just play in front of our fans. And, we want to get on a roll. We want to start, getting on a win streak. We have to get hot soon. So, we want to turn this around pretty fast, to be honest.
The Hogs hope that run gets started tonight when they host an Aggies team off to a hot start in conference play, 7-1 in SEC action. Arkansas will look to hand them their second SEC loss.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Now, that's some of your top stories on this Tuesday. Make sure you join us again right here tomorrow for more. I'm Joe Ellison. Have a great day.